Okay. So, this is a very engaged group. We have lots of questions. Just because you've submitted a question doesn't necessarily mean that it'll be tabled for consideration. We've tried to look at them to get a bit of a cross-section so that we represent, I think, some of the issues that were popular or repeated. This portion of the debate will be a little more casual, a little less formal. We'll pass the mic back and forth. The idea will be is that each candidate will be given a minute to respond. Remember that the questions they had before were prepared. They had them in advance, so they had lots of time to think about them. This is a little bit different in the sense that they're ad-libbing, so we should be patient and always respectful of the courage it takes to speak publicly. We have a very interesting opportunity tonight, and we sort of tried to think about that when we looked at the questions. We don't have an incumbent in front of us. So we tried to look at questions that were sort of, what could Sudbury be? It's easy to cry and complain about what happened, but these are all candidates giving you a roadmap as to what they think Sudbury can be and how they're going to bring us there. So we tried to ask the questions now in a very positive light, without in any way dumbing down some of the tough issues that you clearly asked in some of these questions. Everybody okay with that format? So we're going to pass the mic. You don't have to come up. Look for the flags. Please respect that timeline so that we can get as many questions as we can. First question. A number of seniors have outlined that increased taxation is very onerous, and they fear that they will not be able to stay in their homes. Could each candidate clarify for the group how they plan to build arenas, splash pads, more and safer roads, while ensuring that seniors and the less fortunate can afford to stay in their homes? We're going to go back and forth this way just for the ease of passing the bike. Monsieur Petta?
Okay. My opinion on this is that the seniors that are that live in their homes and they're on fixed income, I think that we should put a cap for their taxes. They would have a maximum that they pay, and if that cap stays there, that would help our senior citizens.
I'm proud to share that I live with my mom, not live with my mom and dad, but I take care of them on a daily basis, and I'm very proud of the fact that I run United Way and they take advantage of 4 funded programs. I live and breathe this, and I feel it. And it's about partnerships. It's about bringing these issues not just to the city forefront, but to the local health integration network, to the CCAC, and working in concert to take care of our seniors and with pride and offer them the leisures, as we speak about all of us equally, arenas, splash pads, everything else. They are just as important as the 8-year-old down the street. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great question. As I said before, a number of our seniors are looking to move away to other more affordable areas. Again, I just want to bring it back to resource revenue sharing, right? There's a lot of money in Sudbury. There's a lot of, the mine generates a lot of money. The province and the federal government actually are profiting more and more. And I think it's time for us in Sudbury to actually, actually take advantage, or to actually have what's rightfully ours in terms of the profits as well. So let's tap into the federal and provincial revenue. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Seniors in our community are very important. In my neighborhood, I see a number of people struggling with trying to look after their families, their parents, and what we need to do is have a sense of community. We need to look at programs that are out there and service providers. Are they providing what people want? I disagree with the idea of giving every senior citizen a tax break, because some senior citizens don't need that. But for those that are in need, there should be a process where they can get assistance or the taxes capped. And as I mentioned earlier, I talked about resourcing our priorities. We have to determine at the city what the priorities are, and if seniors is one of them, then that needs to be addressed. Thank you.
Again, excuse me, a very good question. In that respect, as far as the taxing on seniors, there's a couple of things that we probably, if you look, that we do now currently, and there is a rebate to seniors that are in their home. And I believe it's administered through a means test, and not everybody gets it. You have to be on under a certain amount of income. The other one, as far as bringing arenas and new amenities to the city, it has to be in the next 4 years at any rate. I'm not advocating building anything unless it's with a private partner, not even a partnership. If the private company wants to do it, that's fine. And the last thing is, for transportation, I really highly recommend, and I will push, that seniors are allowed to ride on Sudbury Transit in non-peak hours. So say from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m., they ride free. We see the buses running around empty, let the seniors ride free.
We had a number of variations of this question, and I've tried to cobble together something that I think represents the group of them. If a clear resolution to abolish the slush fund were tabled at council, how would you vote and why? Do you need me to repeat that?
Guaranteed I would vote to abolish the sludge fund. I think it's just a way of a councillor to use the fund in his own ward and keep it until it's time for election time, and then he uses the fund in some manner just to get re-elected. So I think that practice should be out. It's I vote against it 100 miles an hour.
Some of you may not know that I'm the chair of the Healthy Community Cabinet, and I've been working diligently with this very fine city staff, some of which in this room, on reviving the Healthy Community Initiative. We need these funds ward specific. It's the only way we can make small micro projects happen. I will not abolish the slush funds. I will not be so bold as to say abolish it without understanding the research. And for the past 2 years, I have volunteered my time and my board and my staff time for United Way to take this Healthy Community Initiative to 2014 and beyond. So we need it, it's there for us, but there needs to be a real tighter process. There needs to be city staff involvement, there needs to be community involvement, not just councillors at large controlling the fund. Thank you.
So give a round of applause here. I absolutely agree with Mr. Cullen. The slush funds are there for a reason. They're there for the benefit of the community. I don't believe that a councillor should be the only person that is in charge of distributing the money. In fact, we should work through the CANs, the Community Action Network, and to make sure that they work together with the residents to find out what are the particular projects that residents really are at the heart of residents. And in addition to that, I also don't believe that a councillor can go around and distribute checks. Thank you very much.
My position on this is that it should be abolished and the funds put towards a better use. The amount of money in question is $50,000 for each councillor and 12 councillors, so that's $600,000. That's quite a bit of a significant amount of money that should go elsewhere to where there are higher priority needs, and that's it.
I don't believe I should have control over $50,000 a year in my ward, but I do believe that there should be money budgeted to encourage the participation of groups and organizations within our city, within our wards. We can't do it, the city can't do it all alone. So when you start leveraging dollars with organizations and volunteers, it certainly helps. And there's a bit of a fallacy out there. We don't get to hand out dollars, hand out checks. There is a process now, there's a criteria that has to be followed. It has to go to the finance committee. It has to go to council if it's over $7,000. So it's not completely there and certainly not being used. And I have seen projects that certainly benefit different wards in the city. There's going to be abuse at times, but not if we tighten up the regulation, and I don't want to be responsible for that money on my own. Thank you.
Thank you. Always a hot topic. Do you support 24-hour shopping hours, and more specifically, do you support the deregulation of shopping hours on Boxing Day, civic holidays, and why?
Okay, well, as a business owner, I think that's pretty easy for me. I think that the businesses themselves are the ones that should make the decision if they should be open or not. I don't think that the city has anything to do with that. I own, like, if there's shopping to be done on a Sunday, it should be there. We should be allowed to do that. So that's my answer to that.
Part of my portfolio, I was on the chamber board for 4 years, and this discussion was at the forefront of our deliberations of the chamber board, and I'm proud to report that I was actually part of having this, a small part, mind you, of having this on the ballot. It's an incredible amount of work to get this through to the ballot stage. Do I support the mandate to open on civic holiday, Boxing Day? I'd rather be closed Boxing Day. I'd rather be closed civic holiday. But we've all evolved as a community, and this is sort of a tipping point for all of us. And when I do debate it at the door sometimes, when I knock on people's door, it's about the evolution of our great city and moving forward. And I sort of have a slight little comment that I say, I'll see you at Costco on Sunday. We've all evolved to that. I was born and raised in the hospitality industry. I worked every birthday, every New Year's Day, every Christmas Day. It has not affected me personally. I am all about having the retail operators or store operators control their own hours. This is just eliminating red tape. So I am for deregulation. Yes, thank you.
Round of applause. I absolutely echo Mr. Collins' ideas, and also wish to add that we have to remember that Sudbury is based on shift workers, right? The valet, etc., Extrada, EMS, hospital workers, etc. So, and I've also spoken to cab drivers, and they get off shift and they want to do their shopping whenever they can. So I'm fully in agreement with the deregulation of store hours. And I've also video blogged both these questions as well, so feel free to visit my website for more. Thanks.
Thank you. I am in favor of the deregulation of store hours simply for the reason of the shift workers, and we should have a grocery store that is open 24 hours. Good Life is now open 24 hours a day, and people are using it. However, I am opposed to being open on August and Boxing Day. I think families need time to be together. There are a number of people working in retail, minimum wages. My daughter and son-in-law are one. And it's, the next thing that's going to go is Christmas, so we've got to hold on to what we have. Thank you.
I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to comment, being a member or an interim member of council, because when this was put forward and passed, it would go to referendum. There was an agreement at the council table that the referendum or the question would not be spoken about, either for or against, in this process. But I'm an interim member. I wasn't there when that happened. And all I can say to that is, if you don't want stores open on Boxing Day, if you don't want stores open on August 1st, civic holiday, if you don't want stores open all night long, don't shop.
We have received a number of questions related to the transparency of council and the importance that the citizens put on making sure that the council is accountable, and credible. Elected as the new councillor for Ward 8, how do you propose to ensure that this next council is as transparent as possible?
Okay, well, I agree on transparency, that's for sure. Accountability, I spoke about it before. We're gonna have to get together on council and come up with some kind of a consensus or constitution or something that holds everybody accountable for what they're doing. If you're doing deceitful behavior, if you're doing something deceitful, it's got to be brought up to light, and you got to be responsible for your actions. And if punishment has to be, it has to be. If there's charges that have to be laid legally, it should be. If you're handling the public money in the wrong fashion, it's just like stealing from somebody's pocket. So I think that the law should be involved in this, and that's my opinion on that.
I would hope, with all the new candidates coming to the council table, your trusted board of directors, I would hope that the new mayor and council will be at an immediate consensus to provide a really, really strong, deep, profound training mechanism so that all new board members, seasoned board members, the new mayor, can sit as one and understand how this process works. We have business leaders, we have accountants, we have medical professionals, we have executive directors, all about, and I said this earlier, about to form the most significant board of directors in our city's history at the tipping point. And it's about training and development for that board structure, for that discipline, and all the accountability measures that go with that. Integrity commissioner, I've heard talk of that, talk of the ombudsman, talk of auditor general, all that good stuff. That goes without question. But first, there must be an incredibly intense training process so that we can understand, as a new board of directors, all the protocols and the do's and the don'ts and the ins and outs of how a board functions. And I think that is part of the key skill set moving this debate forward. Thank you.